Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday demo, cooking demo. Just before we get started tonight, just want to remind you that we're open 7 days a week, 10 to 5, Monday through Saturday, and Sundays 10 to 4. We're also starting to do more of our curbside shopping, which we're very happy to do for you now that it's getting a little bit colder out. We can still only allow 10 people into the store at a time, so if you feel like there's going to be lines and you don't want to wait out in the cold, please feel free to give us a call or email us. Our phone number is 207-443-1402, and our email address is sales@acook'semporium.com, and we're more than happy to help you out with whatever we can. And then you can just pick it up curbside. Just jump right out of your car and grab the stuff off the table. Also want to let you know that coming up on Saturday, the 10th, is Autumn Fest here in Bath. It's something that we do every year. This year, of course, with the pandemic, it's a little bit different. But we are still celebrating Autumn Fest, and we are going to be giving away a $10 coupon with a purchase of $50 or more. So the $10 coupon can be used anytime between Saturday and December 31st. Couple of restrictions as usual. We can't discount or give away alcohol and stuff like that, but it's $10 for you for just spending $50 here. So that is Saturday from 10 to 5. So let's get started here. We're making Spatchcock Chicken with sides tonight. So we're going to make Hasselback potatoes, and we're going to saute up some Brussels sprouts in balsamic vinegar. We're going to start with the potatoes because they take the longest. And if you look at the recipe, if you scroll down to the very bottom, it tells about the timing. The chicken and the potatoes are both going into a 450 oven. So the potatoes are going to go in first, and the way we make a Hasselback potato is to slice it, but we don't want to slice it all the way through. So I have these 2 wooden spoons here on either side, which is a little awkward, but it's going to make it a little easier to cut. Whoops. Oh, come on. That's not looking good. Let's try this way. It might be a little flatter. So we want to keep the potato in one piece, but we want to cut it into slices like this. It's called Hasselback. It's named after a restaurant, I believe, in Switzerland, where they made these potatoes famous. And when we roast them, they're going to kind of open up like an accordion, and then all the yummy butter and oil and stuff will cook down in, and they get nice and crispy. So just about an eighth to a quarter of an inch thick, and we'll put these over here, and I'm going to do 2 more. The recipe calls for 4. This dinner tonight that we're making is going to feed probably 4 people pretty well. And again, we're just slicing into our potatoes. And these are really nice. I'm doing it really simple tonight because the chicken's got a lot of flavor and the Brussels sprouts are going to have quite a good flavor. So we're just going to do some olive oil to bake it and salt. And then we'll brush the potatoes with some butter and put some fresh parsley on top. But you can do garlic butter, or you can do rosemary, or any way that you like to do your potatoes, just to give them a little bit more flavor. They also do make, we used to carry it, and I'm not sure if we can still get it, but it's actually a little wooden plate that you put it has sides on it, so you put your potato in that and slice down, and it's actually made specifically for these Hasselback potatoes. So we're just going to brush these with some olive oil. And these guys are not actually going to go in the oven right now because I have some in there. I'm going to send these home with one of our employees for dinner. But you would want to put these on their own pan because they are going to cook longer than the chicken. Here we go. Want to get it a little bit inside the slices there. And I'm using extra virgin olive oil because it's got a lot of flavor. And I'm using a nice flaky sea salt which I'll do in just a sec. And this is a Cornish sea salt from Cornwall in England. It's a really beautiful flaky salt. So these are going to open up as it cooks, as you'll see when I take the other ones out of the oven. But it's nice to kind of open them a little bit, get a little bit of the salt and oil in there, like so. See if we can get some in between. And that's pretty much all it takes. These are going to go in a 450 oven for about 55 to 60 minutes. And I'll show you in a sec because I'll take the ones that we have out as soon as they're ready, which is going to be in about 15 minutes or so. So that's basically all you do to prep those. They go in the oven. When they come out, we're going to brush them with some melted butter and put some fresh parsley on those. So there is the potato prep. And again, that will be going on its own pan. You're not going to cook it with the chicken because the chicken will take a little bit less time. So let's get our potato stuff out of the way. And I'll show you how to spatchcock a chicken. And Heather, you're probably going to want to come right around here. So here's a chicken. I've taken the giblets out. So it's all ready to go. And we're going to start at the neck. I believe on the recipe I might have said the tail, but we're going to actually start at the neck. So you can see the spine is right here. And we're going to take these are poultry shears from Oxo, which are great for just cutting. We're just going to stay as close as we can to the spine and just cut through the ribs. And watch out for your fingers. Don't want to cut those off. So there it is. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. And try to get, again, as close to the spine as you can. Now, you don't want to throw this piece away here because this is going to make a nice stock if you put it into a pot of water with the other bones or leftovers from your chicken dinner tonight. So don't throw that away. And then we're going to come right in here, and I'm still at the neck, and you can see the sternum is right here. It's this bone right here. So we're just going to take our knife and just cut a little bit into, there's cartilage right here. So you can see I've just cut a little slit, and then we're just going to pop the sternum out. So that just flattens the chicken really nicely. And then I'm just going to pat this dry. And let's move over to our pan here. Again, just putting it on this pan because it's going home with one of our staff, but it does want to be on its whole pan, on its own pan. So the rub that we have, this is brown sugar, salt, smoky paprika, garlic powder, and ground black pepper. And we're just going to sprinkle this on and cover up all the meat here and the skin. And this is really, I had made this the other night and it is so delicious. All right, so we're just going to flip that over. And then I'm going to just tuck the wing tips under. Just kind of flatten those out a little bit. Whoop. Unless they just insist on bouncing out. And then we'll just put the rub on the rest of the chicken like so. Really simple. You can also do this if you have a grill and you're still grilling, it's not too cold for you. This is really good on the grill. You want to do a nice hot grill to start and put it skin side down. You can brush the grill with a little bit of olive oil just to make sure it doesn't stick. And then after about 5 minutes or so, turn the grill down to about 350 or so and flip it over and onto its back the way it is now, and just grill it for about another 40 minutes or so, and it comes out really nice crispy skin and everything. So that's basically what it is to spatchcock a chicken. So that's pretty easy. If you want to take a look, we'll see what's happening in the oven. We've got about 15 minutes left. You can see the potatoes are opening up on top, and the chicken looks like it's cooking pretty well there, and it smells delicious. So this is basically a dinner that you can make in about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. Pretty quick dinner. So what I started this already, so now that it's got 10, 12 minutes left, I'm going to start my Brussels sprouts. You're going to have a little wait time in between when you start your potatoes. Put the chicken in 15 minutes later. And then when there's about 10 minutes left, you can start on the sprouts. And what I've done with these guys is I have cut off the top part of the stem where it attaches to the stem of the sprout plant, and then I just cut them in half, and I took off if there were any kind of brownish leaves on there. I just took those off as well. And we're going to do this with some of our really delicious 12-year aged balsamic vinegar. It comes from Modena, Italy. Really, really great stuff. This is already pretty thick, but we're going to reduce it a little bit with our sprouts, which will bring some of the flavor out a little bit more. You can use a balsamic glaze. You can buy it already reduced and thickened, in which case you're going to use 2 tablespoons instead of a 1/4 cup. All right, so I am going to, my butter's just melting, and I am going to, I've lost my knife. I'm going to chop up an onion, a small yellow onion. And I should have done that before I turned my butter on, but that's okay. And it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go fairly small on my dice. But it's really personal preference how you like to cut your onions. And this is a awesome, these, as you can see, I'm mostly using these great ceramic knives from Kyocera. And ceramic knives have a little bit of a, you have to be a little careful with them because they can snap or break if you drop them on a marble floor or something like that. But they're awesome because they stay really sharp for a really long time. And then you can just send them back to the company and get them sharpened. And you just basically pay for shipping. So every kitchen should have a couple. And I love the cleaver, the ceramic cleaver. It's just great for cutting veggies. All right, so we will throw all of our onions into the butter here, and that was about a tablespoon, I think, of butter. Okay, and we'll swizzle that around a little bit. See if I can find a spatula. I don't know where all our spatulas are. We'll use a spoon. Okay, so there's our onions. And then I'm going to do some garlic in our garlic twist. There's 1 clove of garlic here. I'm just going to spin that around and mince up our garlic. It does a great job getting it all minced beautifully. And you don't need to use garlic in this if you're not a big fan, but as you know, I am a huge fan of garlic. Okay, and we do want to make sure our garlic doesn't brown or burn because it becomes a little bit bitter. Oops. Sorry, folks. Get that back on. Is that good? I think that's good. Technical difficulties here. There we go. Try not to touch that again. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. You want your onions to look a little bit translucent, which means they look as though you could see light through them. That looks pretty good. So I am going to add my Brussels sprouts. The recipe also calls for pancetta. I couldn't find any at the store this morning, so I'm just doing it without. You could also use bacon, and you can do it with or without the meat in there. Adds a little bit of saltiness to it, but not absolutely necessary. So I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit there, and I'm going to measure out some vinegar. Ooh, that looks so good. And we'll just spread that around in the pan. So when you're reducing a liquid, basically it's allowing some of the water in it to evaporate, but you're keeping the flavor in there, so it just kind of intensifies the flavor. You can do it with a beef stock. If you reduce it down a little bit of beef stock, it becomes a demi-glace. Which is nice for brushing on meat or potatoes. And these are going to take about 10 minutes or so from start to finish. Just trying to get them on all sides so they can absorb some of the vinegar here. And you can see it's sizzling away pretty nicely. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. So this is a great little dinner. You've got your potato, you've got your veggies, you've got your chicken. Just add a salad and a dessert, and you are good to go. Speaking of desserts, next week we're going to do an apple galette, which is a rustic sort of type of pie. And we're going to make some salted caramel to go with it, which is going to be really fun and delicious. And I'm constantly thinking about what I'm going to do for Christmas presents, and this year I've decided everybody's getting food. So I think I'm going to make some bagels, and I'll make some of Mike's English muffins that we had last week, and maybe make people some caramel sauce. So all kinds of fun stuff that's homemade this year for Christmas. And if you'd like to do that too, we can certainly help out. We've got storage containers, and we've got all your cookware needs, and whatever it is that you need to make your own Christmas presents this year. So this is sizzling nicely. I'm turning it back down to medium-low because I don't want to burn it, but I want to make sure Brussels sprouts are cooked. And they do take a little bit longer than some other veggies because they're very dense. Okay, so that's pretty well, it's getting pretty thick, the balsamic. And I think what I'm going to do is put a little piece of foil over it, turn it down to low, and put a piece of foil so that it can cook in its own steam. And we're going to open up the oven and take a look at our chicken and see how the chicken's doing. Chicken you want to have at 165 degrees when you take it out of the oven. So we're going to pull this out. That's looking pretty good. Let's see what it says for a temperature. And you want to slide your thermometer into the thickest part. Need a few more minutes. Try it in the dark meat. Dark meat's pretty much ready. Light meat might just need a little bit more. Although it's pretty close. So it's at 161 right now. As you can see, if you can see the juices coming out, it is running clear, so it's probably pretty good, but we'll just to be on the safe side, we'll keep it in there just for a moment. I am going to take the potatoes out because they look like they're ready. I can do do this without burning myself. And you can see how they're opened up. These are also called hedgehog potatoes sometimes. They look like little hedgehogs. And we are going to take our brush, and I'm just going to brush these. I have some melted butter here that's no longer very melted because it's so cold today. So we'll just melt that up a little bit more. And brush these and make sure the butter gets right in. And this is also going to add a nice shine to them. Oh, those look so yummy. So like I said, rosemary, garlic, whatever you like on your potatoes would be fabulous on these. And as you can see, they're looking pretty crisp around the edges, and they should be nice and creamy and soft on the inside. Oops, that one broke. So there are our potatoes. And I'm going to put those right here for a sec. Look at our Brussels sprouts. Those are coming along nicely. We're probably going to need another 5 minutes or so, which is fine because when we take our meat out of the oven, we are going to want to just put some foil over it and let it sit for a bit. And you want to do that with any meat that you have if you're doing a roast, whether it's beef or pork or chicken or whatever. It's good to take it out of the oven and just let it sit for a few minutes before you cut into it. The juices will stay, it'll stay moister. So instead of the juices running out, they'll stay in the meat a little bit better. So we're going to take that out. And doesn't that look delicious? And this can then be, once you're ready to serve it, you can cut the legs off, you can cut the wings off, you can slice the breasts, and it's all right there, all really easy to serve, really easy to eat. So we've got our potatoes. These are hot potatoes. There's our hot potatoes, and then we've got our Brussels sprouts. And obviously, normally I would put this on a really pretty platter to serve it, but we'll just put our sprouts around the edges here. And that's dinner. So again, don't forget that we have Autumn Fest coming up on Saturday, and I think there's some other stuff going on around town. You can look at the Main Street Bath website and see what's happening. That one. Sorry about the beeping there. So check it out. Come visit us. We'll give you, if you spend $50 or more, we'll give you a $10 off coupon for use later in the season. And there's your dinner. Enjoy. That's about an hour and 20 minutes to make your dinner. And that's great for 4 people. You can do another potato so everybody gets their own. So that's it. Enjoy your dinner, and we'll see you again next week.